Okay, good morning. This is the video update following the Monday, April 27th council meeting. Start out just with one thing that I've started doing on Facebook, and I'm going to do just basic surveys just to get a gauge on, kind of where some of the things are in town and what level they're at as far as an issue goes. The first one that I did last weekend was just a basic confidence survey, just to see where people are at with all the mitigation measures we've put in place, and how people are feeling safety-wise with not only their lives, but their homes, their business, their investments, et cetera, et cetera. Very interesting survey, the results of it. About 60%, pretty much right on 60% of people are confident with what we're doing to different varying degrees, but the lowest degree being, yeah, I'm confident enough with it to live and work and invest in this town. So that's great. And 8%, the lowest number was, not confident. And I think there was 9 responses out of 200 that, 916, something like that, that gave us that number. But, whether there's anything that would ever be able to happen to change that, I don't know. But the interesting number to me was 32% were in that area where they're confident with what we've done, but they're still nervous that it could flood again, which tells me a couple of things. That one, the flood is still raw for a lot of people. There are people that are still rebuilding and everything else, but that's a time thing that'll take a lot of those people to get over, and there's some that it will always be raw. So there's varying degrees in that one too. But I was encouraged, though, that of course we've done so much work to try to get the confidence back up in people, and yes, it's only 200 people, but that was within about a 48-hour period. So what it does is gives you a pretty good synopsis of the lay of the land with it. And these are not Town of High River initiated surveys that go through all the assessments with how you put a Town of High River one together. These are simple ones that I put together myself. They're the mayor's gauge on what the pulse is in town. So take them for what they are. They're fun. There's going to be fun ones on there. There's also serious ones on there. Moving into kind of the council meeting stuff, the next survey I'm going to put out is directly associated with the Redtail Rise development and the new annexation in the southeast corner of High River. We had a public hearing on it on Monday, which a lot of people attended. I was surprised with the number of people that attended, and so few actually spoke up when that's their opportunity to speak. So I encourage people, when you come to a public hearing, I would expect that you have, not expect, but I have the impression that you probably have something to say on the matter. And that is where you have the opportunity to sit in front of the 7 of us and staff and everything else and just tell us what you think about it. And if you think we're being stupid about it, please tell us. If you think it's great, please tell us. We had a couple of developers that came that spoke against it, not surprisingly. And then we had residents of a couple from Beechwood that would really like to relocate there. And there's a lot to be said on both sides. I think the conversation needs to be removed from specific developments, though, because this is about the whole community. It's not about certain chunks and specific areas. High River, we have a lot of work to do in a lot of areas to get things back to where they were, and we're doing a great job. And everybody's residents, council, staff, everybody alike, outsiders, volunteers, we're all doing a great job of getting it back to where we want it to be. So, but this development is unique, and it's important to note that yes, there's about 370 acres that we are looking at to annex. where this started was a small section, 50 acres, on the west side of 2A Highway. That's where this started. And there's a developer that would like to put an area in there that Beechwood residents, River Road residents, other people in High River might want to relocate. It's very unique. It overlooks the Little Bow Valley and everything else, and a gorgeous piece. It takes money to annex just 50 acres. So when we looked at it, we said, well, if we're doing all this and spending the money to annex this, why don't we just take what's going to be annexed in the future at some point in time anyways, which is the other 320 on the east side of the road, 2/4, and just annex that as well to save us money in the future. It's important to note that just because you annex land doesn't mean that the tracos are going in next week and development is going to start. Just because we annex it doesn't mean it's going to be developed anytime soon. What we're focused on right now on the Red Tail Rise development, part of the 50 acres, is a small section of it, which is called Phase 1, that has about 30 houses going in it. That's the only development that's slated at this point in time. So it's important to note that to just kind of frame the conversation to exactly what it is. This is about the town of High River. The MD of Foothills will more than likely do that Red Tail Rise development if we don't annex it. The difference is, right now we have the opportunity to capture that tax revenue. So if it's going to happen, in my mind, why wouldn't we annex that land so that we retain the tax revenue of it? It's fairly simple to me. So anyways, this survey is going to speak to that, and it's a simple yes or no question as to whether you think we should do it. So there's a lot of things out there in the media and coming from other developers, etc., and I understand their concerns, but this is about the whole community, not any one specific section. So that's where that's at. Stars Air Ambulance, they came as a delegation, and I think what we brought out of that, I don't think I have to go on about explaining what Stars means to this whole province and High River specifically right now. But you know, with the hospital that we have in town, we have a helipad. Everybody knows the number of trips that when they hear that helicopter coming over High River, and it's an extremely important part of this community. And Councillor Moore brought it forward that we didn't do a donation to Stars last year just because of our financial situation, but we need to get that going again so that we continue to support Stars because they are so extremely important to this community. A couple other things with the agenda. There was 2 designations. One was for the Garrett residents on 8th Street Southwest, and that's just a historical home designation, as well. There was another one, the W.O. Mitchell residence, which kind of surprised me that it wasn't designated before, but anyways, it is now. That one, as well, is basically just across the street from the Garrett residence on 8th Street Southwest. So those 2 are done. We also had a delegation come from, I'm jumping around here a little bit, but we also had a delegation come from the architect who is building the new provincial building down on 4th Avenue in McLeod. So very encouraged to see that design, and it's a very cool design. It's a little more modern, but it will fit in, and they are wondering, there's a wedge of land there that the town owns against what was the old building, and they would like to have that piece of property so that they can put their walkway, etc., into that. You know, the important thing from our standpoint is that any changes made do not affect the downtown design and do not affect the walkability factor and the wider sidewalks and everything. We will not encroach on that. That's extremely important to note. And So we'll be working with those guys. And we appointed a new board member to the FCSS board, Jolene McCluskey. Can't thank you enough, Jolene. You know how I feel about volunteers putting their hands up and getting involved with this community. So good for you, and everybody appreciates your involvement. Glacier Water Transport Services. They came to us. What Glacier Water, they're looking at coming into High River and building a kind of a headquarters up in the East End industrial area, and drawing water from town water to deliver it to outside residents, MD residents that are on cisterns, those kinds of things. Their water usage is the number one thing that we are concerned about with any business that's coming in. We asked a lot of questions on that. 500 cubic meters a month is what they're looking at, which is very low water usage in relation to a restaurant, McDonald's, Dairy Queen, those kinds of things, same kind of water usage. But they are building in town. We get the tax revenue. There's more jobs coming into town. There's a great benefit to it all. I think we need to be careful with you know, how long this agreement is. It's got to make sense from our end. It's also got to make sense from a business plan standpoint from Glacier Water Transport. So our guys are going to work along with them, because Town of High River, we are putting together a proper water policy that we have never had before. Water is the #1 issue around this country right now. And we've got to be very careful with how we manage our water in this town. So very encouraged to see a business coming, of course, with Glacier Water Transport, and we'll get this taken care of and make sure that our interests are protected, as well as it's making sure that their business model is being protected as well, because we don't want them coming in and then going out of business in 3 years or not being interested because they can't do business here. So going on from there, quarterly update for our council action plan. They just brought that forward and gave us an update from January to March 2015. We're right along in line with our planning and everything else as to where we started in 2013, so that's all looking good. Emergency Preparedness Month, a couple of things on that. Last year Council had designated May as being Flood Awareness Month, but we've changed that a little bit, because it's not just floods that can affect this town, and in all honesty, with the mitigation that we've done, and High River being the most well-protected town from flood risk in Canada at this point in time, and we're not even done yet, you know, we got to move. There's other emergencies that can happen. So we've taken it from Flood Awareness Month to Emergency Preparedness Month, and that's being in May. So there's an emergency expo that's going on Saturday, May 9th at the rec center, and it'll probably be outside on the ball diamonds, hopefully, if weather permitting. But if it gets rainy or whatever, they'll move it inside. The cool thing about the way they're doing this is, yes, the exhibitors will be there, and there are different vendors for your 72-hour kits, and the fire department will be there, and you can ask everybody questions. We will have all the mitigation boards there. You can ask questions on all the berming and diking, the Center Street Bridge project that's being engineered right now. All that kind of stuff will be there. But there'll also be family activities that kind of center around emergency preparedness, but fun activities to get the kids engaged and get them paying attention to what can happen and what they need to do, so that if something happens, they're a little more aware. That's what this is all about, and I think it's very cool as to the way our staff has put this together. There'll be a lot more details. highriver.ca has all the event details on there. Prior to May 9th, though, there'll be another siren test on Wednesday, May 6th at 12 p.m., just so that we all know that those things are doing. High River Alert System. Everybody must be signed up for that. If you're new to High River, go to highriver.ca, find the link to the High River Alert System. What this does is that any kind of emergency notification that we need to get out to the community, This is an automatic, easy thing you do. You sign up your email address, your cell phone number. It'll text you. It'll email you. It'll hound you until you answer saying that you got the information. It's an excellent system. We put this in, of course, last year after the 2013 event. It's extremely important that everybody signed up. So if you're not signed up yourself, get signed up. If you know somebody that isn't signed up, spread the word, get them signed up, because the more people that are on there, the better. The strategic plan, High River Council's strategic plan that we've put together, and everybody knows the planning sessions that we went through back in December and January. Total of about 16 to 20 hours of council sitting around with staff and just brainstorming as to where we see High River going and what we want to see in place here. We got a graphics recorder to come in. We got a consultant to come in, a mediator to kind of help us manage and keep us focused. The graphics recorder was amazing. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, they got somebody to come in and draw cartoons and everything else. Well, yeah, I guess that's what it is. But what you got to focus on are the results of that, because the graphics recording was a very cool thing that just captured all of that conversation and brought it to something that most people can understand as to where we are headed. So we've got these two massive boards that have all the graphics recording. We're doing one final board that kind of incorporates both of those and brings it into one final board. That'll be shown in the strategic plan that comes out in the next couple of months, probably. But we've got a few things, little adjustments. We brought that as a draft to the council meeting, talked about it a lot. There's a few things that we've got to adjust in it, just to tighten it up. The important thing about this plan, though, and what the public is going to see, I can't thank Councillor Loran enough for his expertise in this department. This is what he does for a living. He's extremely knowledgeable and successful with doing these kinds of plans. He's the one that guided all of us as to how to get to this end goal, as to where we're at. And how to present it to the public in a way that everybody can understand it. And that's what the public's going to see. Yes, there will be a concise document that will be available if you want to go through 92 pages of size 10 font and read all of it with no pictures. I would never be able to stay focused past the title page. But the important thing about this strategic plan is it's concise, it's simple, there's graphics in it, easy for everybody to understand. We didn't want to hand the community a massive document that you would have to spend, well, 30 days going through 8 hours a day. So very excited about this. Again, I can't thank Peter enough for his expertise in guiding us, because did an excellent job of it. We had one spot open on the Mayor's Economic Development Task Force. We have filled that spot now. Ms. Catherine Rogers has filled that spot for us. Thank you very much, Catherine. Most people will know Catherine from being an executive VP. I don't know exactly what her title is, sorry, Catherine, but pretty much second in command up at Western Financial Group. She's since retired, and she wanted, she's been talking to me for months and about wanting to get involved in High River and where we're headed. This is exactly where we need Catherine to be. She's excellent, has huge experience in this field, and can't thank her enough for putting her hand up and getting involved. So thank you very, very much, Catherine. Okay, the final piece, just to note, is the community green sweep that is happening this Saturday, May 2nd. Everybody's meeting at the fire hall in the morning, so we always need volunteers. This is just a real fun day to get together and help clean up High River. Regardless of flood issues, your community always needs to be cleaned up after the winter, and important for everybody to get involved. It's a real fun thing, and our staff do an excellent job of putting this together. And so come on out, Fire Hall, May 2nd. If you've got You don't have to be there all day. If you've got an hour or half an hour to lend a hand, just come on by and they'll direct you somewhere and get it cleaned up and on with your day. So thank you very much. You know how to get a hold of me. Watch for the new little surveys that are going to be coming out on my Facebook page, and all of your comments can be put on my Facebook page. I will not do anonymous comments anymore. If you got something to say, you need to put your name and your face behind it, and it's just the way I roll. So thank you very much. Have fun. Enjoy the weather. Talk to you.